Hey everybody, it's Stalker13R coming at you with another episode. Where's those Duke boys? They called for help, said Roscoe Big Cool Train. That's right, that guy just jumped me in my Tiger II. Alright, I just wanted an excuse to work that clip in. It's not every day you get jumped while you're out in your Tiger II. So the Tiger II is another one of those vehicles where it was one of my first Tier 8s. I thought I was going to love it, and I absolutely hated it and sold it. And it had a horrible win rate, so now that, my player skill's better and I'm rounding out my garage, so that I have a lot of different tanks, if I'm platooning up with people, I have a lot more options for what I'm going to play than just the tanks that I love or the kind of play style that I like to play. And so I got that Tiger II again. And, it's not my play style. The true heavy tanks like this, because this is not a heavy medium, this is a heavy tank. Unfortunately, it doesn't, at bottom tier, it really can struggle. But today, we're going to take that bottom tier, because I'm one of only 2 Tier 8s on the team here. And we're going to come over here to the place where everybody heavy tanks. Now on the channel we always like to talk about the overall strategy and how that you're going to work with your team. So right in the initial phase here, I know there's going to be some guys coming around here. And I'm going to give him one right in the side and brew him up a little bit. And I'm on the reload, Can I get him before he gets around the corner? And I'm almost reloaded and he disappears. So that's another thing. So you can see I'm a little bit too high up on the side of this ridge and I'm taking a round in the side, so I'm just going to move forward enough. Now normally the heavy tanks rush up and try to push that gap, but I'll pull up the mini-map here in a minute. Now my team, although we've got some small tanks buzzing around, we don't have a lot of the heavy tanks to be really dominating that space up there. So we're going to have to play it a little closer to the chest. And that means that we're going to have to fight that delaying action. And we're going to have to wait until the other flank wins their flank and then comes in over here on the oblique to help us out. Hopefully we're still around that long. But our job is no longer to push that gap. And so many people, they'll get over here and there'll be, one of 2 or 3 tanks that came this way for whatever reason. And they'll try to push anyway. And then they'll get frustrated and yell on the mic. There's that T110E5, and I got one in on him, but he got one in on me. I really can't afford that trade, so I'm a little too far forward here, and I'm going to have to back out. But now I've got the top of my turret sticking up just a little bit too much. So I'm going to try to work on that Scourge, too, because I know that's a really tough target, and we've got to be getting him off the board. So my point here for the strategy is if you realize not enough of your team came to the side of the map to do the job that is normally done, then modify what that job is. Don't just get up there in the gap and, brawl anyway, because like this T-32 up here on my left flank, he exposed his flank to the rest of the ridge line, and he got taken out. So that's not the strategy. You can't say, okay, well, it's our job to get over here and aggressive, and we're going to have half the team with us to do it. Well, if you don't have half the team with you, then you're going to have to sit back and play the waiting game. And that's going to get these guys to come out more one at a time. Take a little premium round over the shoulder there. Now, some of these tanks shoot premium rounds as standard, and I'm not a premium ammo hater. You can shoot whatever kind of ammo you want. And so we're going to keep trying to work these tanks, but we're just going to hang back. And when you do that and they're expecting you to push, they'll stop like they did just short of the gap and try to size up how many folks are there. Then when they see not many or no one is there, then they'll go, okay, where are they? And they'll start getting bored. Well, one of them will get bored and come out. And then another one will get bored and come out. And all we're doing is trying to make this take enough time that the other flank has time to win their flank and get over here so that we can put a win on the board. Because at the end of the day, it's a team game. So be willing to modify what your strategy is and play smart. You know, it's not always the best idea to play aggressive. So I've got that T110E5 up here on my 9 o'clock, and you know, that's a tough customer for this Tiger II. But we're going to see if we can continue to play hold down. You know, I know he can get through my turret anyway, but I'm going to try to use these heavy tank tactics that I'm not a master of, and see. Now the gun depression on the Tiger II isn't what it could be, so I've got to get to places I've got to use those undulations in the terrain to make sure that I have it, because like right here I wouldn't if he came around the corner. So I'm going to try to bait him in, and there where my nose is down on my tank, I'm going to stop first. That way my aiming circle is ahead of his, and I get the shot before he does. Now I knew this guy was coming around on my flank, but I had a T110E5 in front of me, and I just could not divert my attention in time to not take that last shot. But as you see, our job wasn't to push that gap like it would normally be, because not a lot of our team came with us. You know, yeah, there were some light tanks running around, and I had a medium with me, and, you know, this tank destroyer was there, but we didn't have enough power to push that gap versus, you know, a Scourge, T110E5, you know, a lot of these tanks that were out there and available. You know, we just didn't have the power to push that gap. So, you know, we stayed hold down, we played the poke game, and we made them come to us, and we ended up at least holding out long enough that the rest of our team did their job and came over, and we put the win on the board. So, you know, as is always on the channel, you know, play with the team that you're on, not the team you want to be on. And whatever they're doing, do the best you can to make sure that that's a success. If they want to go win the other flank and then come over and deal with what's left on your side, then don't push, don't be aggressive. Just hold your ground, do as much damage as you can, and lighten up all of those targets before you're there. Because we're not dying for realsies here, so you can make that team sacrifice and make the smart play for the team, and have it come out for a win in the end. Shout out to the D7 Cav Whitman there, Whitman 28. It's a, I don't know, sister, brother clan, something like that. So yeah, we've got the Tiger II back in the garage, you know, and I'm getting its win rate back up closer to the 50% mark. It was pretty low when I had sold it off. And again, my player skill back then wasn't what it was. And so I've got this in the garage, and it rounds it out. You know, I can't say it's my favorite tank still, but, you know, we've got it in the garage, and we'll see what we can't get going on. So, you know, if you've got some tanks out there, and again, just like I play that French tank, you know, and I say, hey, this isn't my normal play style, and, you know, this isn't the kind of driving I normally do, so I kind of modify how I play that. You know, get something in the garage that isn't in your play style and get in there and play it. The more you do, the more of those skills you're going to pick up, and they're going to translate, because even if you're in a medium like this and you're used to zooming around and ramming into people and shooting, getting in there with that heavy tank and brawling, you know, there are situations where when you're playing on the team that you're on rather than the team that you'd like to be on, where you're going to have to brawl in your medium, where you're going to have to poke a corner in that light tank. And that's because that's what the situation's going to dictate. You know, and we talk about that here on the channel all the time, where your tank, no matter what it is, may be forced into any role. So if you get into a tank that's appropriate for that role and learn those skills, at least you'll have the skill to do it well. And that's going to really come in handy when you're in a tank that isn't designed for the role that is required in the situation. So, I hope that makes sense. You know, all those skills and tactics that you put in your pocket, that's something that you can put to use for your team. And you're going to be a better player overall. So, as much as, you know, you have to fear the man with one tank in the garage, if you've got the time to invest in the game and you can diversify out, then play a variety of styles and get a lot of those tactical skills, and that way no matter what situation you find yourself in, you'll have the skills to do it effectively and actually make an impact on the battlefield for your team. So I think that's going to wrap it up for today. Thanks for watching. I'm Stalker13R.